Yeah. Okay. Went to the Philippines. I remember exactly I left at Clark Field on December 18th in the morning and went to a party at the Nurses Officers Club at the hospital. There's a base hospital at Clark Field. It's a major base hospital. It's a general hospital where all the patients come. They never go out unless they're healthy or die. And this buddy of mine, the guy that painted the polka dots that I were, Dave Landgraf, the character. I was single and went to the party, and it's a nurses' party, but it's everybody's sitting around nothing. It was a punch bowl. What are you going to do with a punch bowl? Get some music. I mean, they were playing records or something. So the following week we go back, and I got to know somebody there, and I said, give me some medical alcohol, a little bottle. Unknowns to me, he did the same thing. We loaded the punch bottle with some of this medical alcohol, which is 90 proof underneath. We, the woman in charge of the nurses was a lieutenant colonel, very, very prim old lady, tough. She had to be, 'cause keeping all these young nurses. I mean, they had a whole flock. It must have been 30 or 40 or 50 nurses working there. And I met a girl. I was dancing with her. I loved to dance in those days. I was a jitterbug nut, tall, long, skinny. And she's a nice girl, very mature lady. Come to find out, she's head of surgery. Why is she head? Because the captain in charge was sent home, so she was left on duty. She was senior rank. Her name was Garrison, nice girl. Well, the next week, we had the party, and all of a sudden, the commanding officer of the nurses had a couple of drinks. Bingo! You hit her. What had happened is I put vodka, alcohol in, and the young doctor, did the same thing. So we had a double dose, not knowing it. A lot of people got drunk that night, but they liked it. The girls loved it. So every week they had a party, and every week I would show up. By the second week, I'm going steady with GAT. Because over there, if you don't go steady, you lose it. Somebody else moves in on you. There's a bunch of whoremasters in the Air Corps boys. We were young. I was already an old man then at 22. So she and I were going steady. Nice girl. So, and every week we went to the party. Then I start taking her to my parties, pick her up. I had transportation because I was special service officer. And we got very well, got to like each other very much. And so I start going there. I wasn't flying anymore to speak of, just special service work. I wasn't running the school anymore. So I went over there. I said, I got nothing to do. She said, I need help. We don't have any ward boys here. Run some blood for me, will you? If somebody's taking blood, you got to bring it up. Or help with running the blood. I'll show you how to do it. They start showing how to do it. Well, after a while, you start taking blood too. Not hard, if somebody shows you. And if they were there, no doctor supervising. And a couple of young kids, 30-year-old doctors, just checked in, fresh out of school. And this is a general hospital. So she was more or less in charge and doing the best she could. So I started hanging around the hospital. Everybody knew me. I was the ward boy around the hospital. In fact, I started sleeping on one of the gurneys, put it behind a curtain, going to sleep at night and get up in the morning. Handling bodies because guys come into auto wrecks and got to carry them in, and patch them up and so on. After hanging around about 2 months, they got there's 3 operatories going with 3 kids, young doctors, 30 years old there. One of them says, hey Harold, how are your hands? I said, why? Steady. He said, I need help. A doctor got to have an assistant over there to hold something so I can do it. Can you help me? You scrub up. So I scrubbed up. Nothing to it, put on a gun. Go over there. He says, And what are you doing? He said, I'm doing appendix. I got a whole list of guys out there waiting for appendix. He says, I'll cut him and we'll pull out the guts. You do that, and I'll go over and get the next guy started. Huh? So I start pulling out, pull out the intestines. Okay, there's the whatchamacallit, appendix. He said, don't touch it. Comes back, ties it up, cuts it off. He says, push it back in. I'll be back. Push it back in. Sews it up. Done. Hey, that's good. Let's keep going. We're knocking about 15, 20 minutes at a piece. I got to be known as assistant surgeon. Don't laugh. It's stupid. But there was nobody else. If they didn't get done, they didn't get done. I got good at it.